Hey, I want to be honest with you. I don't like sales. Actually, if I'm going to be really honest, I don't like rejection. So if you're a small business owner like me, stick around. I'll be right back with Adrian Havelock, who's going to share tools to go beyond the discomfort about what it means to go out there and sell your business. We'll be right back.
Your strategy has to involve your mindset, and your strategy then involves the actions that you take to move you from where you are to where you want to be.
I'll start with what Visa isn't, right? Visa doesn't issue credit card. We don't issue credit. So Visa doesn't do that, which surprises a lot of people.
We'll use a phrase like, things changed, but things don't change. People change things. All the legislation that has been passed, somebody advocated for that. And so International Women's Day is to commemorate that history of women making change.
Several of the banks have started to migrate their existing debit card portfolio to chip and pin EMV technology. So the SMEs are going to benefit from a wide range of customers who previously did not have a credit card but only had a debit card.
Good morning and welcome to the live series Straight Off the Bat, a show that covers the need to revive, survive, and adapt to the new normal of COVID-19. Join us on Thursdays as we speak to individuals across multiple industries who will help you understand financial literacy and education. If you're joining us from LinkedIn, hey, thanks. Don't forget to like, follow our page to continue seeing content that will help you manage your money. Today, we're discussing effective sales strategies for small businesses in Trinidad and Tobago with Adrian Havelock. He's a sales trainer right here from Trinidad and Tobago. He helps corporate giants communicate with their customers in a non-salesy way. I think that's so important. His method has made him one of the most sought-after sales trainers in the Caribbean. He's an author and a go-to corporate sales trainer who delivers new insights and experiences through his customized workshops. Having over a decade of sales experience and dealing with varying personalities, that is so important, varying personalities, his sales process delivers optimum exposure to the possible responses you can get based on any sales situation. He also believes that we're not alone in this universe. And if you know who Mulder and Scully is, you know who I'm talking about. So let's welcome Adrian, but let's get right into it. What is sales? Because we live in a world that words are so subjective now. It's actually, it could be a little cumbersome and overwhelming at times. For the purpose of this show, can you share with our audience what is sales?
All right. So a lot of times people have the misconception that sales is a process. We need to look at the word subjectively and really focus in on what that means. Sales is not a process. Sales is a result. What you want is a result. What you want is a sale. Okay? So when you talk about sales, you are talking about results. Results from what? Results from selling. Selling is the process. So when we look at sales, we need to look at these are the results of the work that we have done.
That is such a great place to start because we are in a society that values friendship before the bottom line. And when you're running a business, the bottom line is profit. And when it comes to sales from a small business perspective, we hear about stories like, one of the biggest cosmetic resellers of cosmetics in Trinidad and Tobago, going from door to door and knocking to get his product sold, and then eventually, there's this massive business that has been built. So from where we're living right now, the perception of sales has evolved because you're not knocking at no door in this this age. Besides the fact that we're in a lockdown, the consumption of information is in a different place. So can you shed some light on those two sort of outlooks at what it means to sell to somebody and that outreach? What does that look like now?
Sales has evolved. Selling has evolved. The way we communicate with people has evolved significantly, especially within the last 20 years. Because before the age of the internet, we had the door-to-door salesmen. We had people going on the road, pounding the pavements and trying to sell their product or service. Now, because we have information technology, we have a lot of devices and multiple ways in which we could reach people, okay? That has eliminated a lot of the physical hard work, right? To reach these people. But it also made it easier to reach them because it's more, it makes them more accessible. There was a time before even cell phones, you'd have to call people on their office phones or on their telephone at home. But, you know, if they're not at home, you'd have to leave a message. Now, it's instant. You're getting them on social media, you're getting them on the internet. So the speed at which we can reach people, it's completely opposite of what it was even up to 20 years ago. And that has really helped the way in which we sell. It really has helped the way in which businesses can grow or have the potential to grow. And, you know, I'd say 50 years ago, sometimes it would take 10 years for a business to grow from very small to very large. Now it could take you a year. You can go from nothing to something that is so big because of the way in which you can use technology to sell and get sales, make profit, and really become successful.
I think that's such an important factor because now more than ever is the time to have a business in terms of the ease in which to connect to that person. Because, you know, we're talking about calling the home phones. I remember someone, I think I was some insurance company was asking me for a home phone. I'm like, what is that? I don't know what that is. I don't have that. So, you know, that shift is so important for a small business to understand how their audience, their behavior. I want to shout out to Desiree. She is definitely one of our OGs in attending our live sessions. Hope you're having a great day today, Desiree. Let's talk about this conversation around, you know, being online, because with that, there's this, you know, obvious expansion of use of social media. And folks have this perception that they can sell on social media. So can you share with our audience, you know, is that the case? How do they approach social media, especially when sales and marketing is lumped in the same space?
So for the social media, in order for a salesperson or a small business owner to go and get new clients, they'd have to do something that is called prospecting. Prospecting is the process via which you acquire a list of names or companies, people who could potentially buy from you. And you reach out to these individuals or companies to be able to have a meeting and sell your product or service. With the use of social media, it is a lot more easier to do so. However, what is different is that the way in which you would prospect and build that client database and reach out to new customers would be different on social media. And you'd hear a lot of consultants and professionals talking about social selling. Now, being able to sell effectively on social media is not about selling at all. It is about being able to be a better marketer, even though you're a salesperson, right? Because you need to do better marketing. And the best way to do marketing is through social selling. And how do we do that? By not selling our product or service. We should not be sliding into people's DMs and then trying to pitch your product or service or tell them that you have something really wonderful, but I noticed that you don't have this, you don't have this, you don't have this, and I could help you with this, just reach out to me. That is not selling. That is basically jumping and pouncing on somebody without them expecting it, and people don't like that. The best way you can sell on social media is by helping people, sharing tips, sharing advice, showing how something can work, explaining something in a very, very simple way that a kid could understand you in your industry, of course, so that when your clients or your potential customers see these snippets, see these videos, see these posts, text, images, they can get some value from it. And even if they want, they can put it to use. But when you give that type of value, it comes back to you in the form of potential clients, inquiries into your product or service. That's the one thing that we need to do as a salesperson or a small business owner. We need to become a good marketer on social media. Okay. And if it is that you can market well, you need to also understand that the marketing and the selling are two different things. Okay. Just because you're doing the marketing and you're consistent on social media, you need to understand that when you're having a conversation with your client, that is different. That might be selling. And even so, you shouldn't really be talking about your product and service.
What we're going to look at right now within the effective sales strategies for small businesses conversation is sales strategy. First of all, what is a sales strategy, Adrian?
Right, Paul, you can hear me now, right?
I can.
All right. So in terms of a sales strategy, it's the ability to understand what is the process, what is the plan you have when it comes to reaching out, finding new customers or new clients, and being able to communicate with them in a way that gives them value and wants to do business with you. So if you have an effective sales strategy, it means you have an effective sales plan. And when you have an effective sales plan, that means you know and you understand what is the process, what is that customer journey going to be like when they meet you for the first time until you shake hands with them and you close that sale and you deliver on that product or service. So having an effective sales strategy is being able to know what your plan is, understand that process, and execute it.
The idea of a plan, I find, is so foreign to a lot of businesses that I have discussions with, because we're so focused on, okay, I want to have this amount of sales by this time frame, and there's such a trajectory. There's this conversation around success is not a straight line, it's up and down. It's the equivalent of sales, right? And when it comes to customer journey, it's black and white when you have that retail company. So you say, okay, the person walks into my door, they look at my shoes, and then I have somebody who goes and engage with them, convince them to get it in their size, and then they go to the cashier. But when it comes to the world we're living now, unfortunately, a lot of businesses are no longer in that physical space. What advice would you give to that small business owner who is trying to navigate a digital space and you're speaking about customer journey? What advice would you give to them?
Well, what happens is that customer journey is going to shift from something that is being physical to something that is more virtual. And this is where the social selling comes in. So they need to start being courageous enough to put themselves out there, because as a small business owner, your brand is not necessarily your company. Your brand is yourself. So when people hear about sales training, right now my brand is Adrian Havelock. When it comes to sales training, when they talk about speaking, your brand is Adrian Havelock. And as a small business owner, you need to build your personal brand in order to be able to go out there. So you have to have that courage, become courageous to put yourself out there. Let people start seeing you. Let people start hearing you. Let people start seeing the work that you do and knowing your name. Because when they know your name and they know who you are, that is your reputation that you're building there. And that reputation is the foundation for that big business that you're going to have in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years. So your personal brand is very, very important, but you need to be brave enough to put yourself out there. Come on camera, speak to people online, give value, record yourself, post it up. Let them see you. Let them see your product, right? Let them see you talking about something, but giving value, not about selling it, not buy my book, not buy this, not buy that. Don't say those things. Give value. Show them how they can achieve their goals, your clients, that is, your potential clients. And when you do that, that is where they gravitate towards you and they want to know more. They want to find out more. They want to inquire. They would probably want to know what packages you have or what products you have, what is the price. And you'd have people buying from you rather than you selling to them.
You're speaking my religion when you said personal brand, because I think that is extremely important. And a lot of the responses I get from individuals is, well, I'm afraid to go on camera.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not for me. I'm not outgoing. I'm not meant to be in front of a camera. What would be your response to that, Adrian?
Well, if you're not brave enough, or you don't have the courage, or you're saying that it's not you to go in front of your camera, then it's going to be a lot more challenging to build your personal brand. You'd have to probably go and try the old school tactics of pounding on the door, pounding the pavement, going to see people in person. And in this day and age, not everyone is as open as before to meet people in person, which means it's going to be a bit harder for you and it's going to cost you a lot more money. So where do you want to go? You want to put yourself out there, use social media, and it's a free platform basically to market yourself, right? Or do you want to spend the money and send mail outs or try to prospect people in the old school traditional ways? Now, I'm not saying that the old school ways don't work. They do work. You need to know how to utilize it in a way in which you can tie it back to social media and the internet and make it work together in harmony. But if it is that you don't want to put yourself out there, then you're going to have to invest and do ads, spend money that you probably mightn't have as a small business owner in order to build a company brand for it to become well known. So that's the give and take right there. I would always encourage people, build your personal brand, because people would remember your name and know your face much faster than the name of your company, especially when you're starting off with building a business as a small business owner. Try it.
When it comes to the specific steps that you need to take as a small business owner, do you have any sort of action items that a business owner should take to create that effective sales strategy, also known as a sales plan?
I would always tell a business owner, as long as you have the product or the service and you're ready to get started, go and start selling. Don't worry about your branding. Don't worry about your brand colors. Don't worry about don't worry about putting things in order up front. Don't worry about the storefront. Don't worry about any. Just start selling. Start selling. Start calling people. Start utilizing social media, and start making sales. The key thing is to start generating cash flow. When you could start generating cash flow and you start to build that momentum, you can utilize the profits from that in other areas when it comes to branding and colors and marketing strategies or plans, or building an effective website, or doing a social media promoted sponsored post. Okay, the key is to just start getting that ball rolling with your sales. Start reaching out, start calling these companies or these clients, get meetings with them. Okay, get them to place a small order with you, but always deliver on service. As a small business owner, the key thing is to give the best service you could possibly give when it comes to clients, because that is part of building your personal brand. It is part of building that reputation, okay, and becoming known as someone or a company that people can rely on. At the end of the day, you're dealing with people, and people want reliability, they want efficiency, they want service, and they want it with a smile.
Yes, agreed. And, we're also shifting into a space, not shifting, we're there, within the e-commerce space. And, you're talking about price earlier when you're selling yourself and selling your business. What advice you'd have to that business owner who basically, small businesses aren't competing with the company next door. They're not competing with in the mall, the store next door selling the same shoes. In addition to that, they're competing with Amazon. And we're now in a space in the Caribbean, not just Trinidad and Tobago, but in the Caribbean, where your consumer is digital savvy. You know, they have access to credit cards and they're making decisions that is best for them, which means it's going to be cheaper and it's going to get delivered to their door. So when it comes to a business owner within Trinidad and Tobago, their prices is impossible to compete with the massive giant that is the person trying to get it into space with our money, right? So where will that sales strategy, that sales strategy will differ, but where's the evolution there for that individual to make sure that they get piece of that pie and then it's not all going to Jeff Bezos?
Okay, so I need to make this clear, okay? Just because we have Amazon and these different platforms that sell any and everything that you can possibly think of, it does not mean that because you have a small business or a small website that sells a couple things, that every single customer or every single individual in the Caribbean or on the island is going to buy only from Amazon. Okay, you need to remember that every product has a buyer, every service has a user. So if it is that you provide a product or a service as a small business owner, there would be people, there would be companies who will do business with you. So we need to get that myth out of our heads that just because they can buy something online with a credit card, they won't do business with me. That's not going to be true. First of all, you can have people that you know as your very first customers, and they will support you. Okay, there would be some that wouldn't support you, and that is fine. But there would be the ones who would support you, and sometimes the ones that supporting you are the ones who will surprise you, right? You would at least expect that, oh my God, this person is buying my product or service. This person is doing business with me, right? I've seen a lot of small business people. They started off really small, and their own relatives did not do business with them, okay? But their friends and friends of friends were able to start buying. And when they bought, they were able to receive good service, and then they came back. And when they came back, that was an indication of customer loyalty. And when you have customer loyalty, okay, that in itself goes a long way, because now you have built that level of trust where they don't want to deal with anybody else. They want to deal with you. So we need to stop thinking that because people can buy stuff on Amazon and use their credit card and import it for something cheaper, that nobody is going to do business with us. No, that's not true. That's not possible. You're always going to get sales. The key is to work at it. The key is to build your brand through your marketing, through social selling, and be able to answer that phone and speak effectively, communicate effectively with that sales conversation, and close that sales and repeat and do it and repeat. And these people are going to come back and they're going to do business with you, and you're going to build as time goes on. Okay, so stop thinking about what we can't do and let's look at what the things that we could do, right? Because a lot of times we have that thought at the back of our heads, what if it doesn't work out? Well, you should also ask yourself, well, what if it does?
As an entrepreneur, when you are, when you believe in your product or services, you have a tendency to be delusional. And when I say you, I mean me. I had those times. I still have those times sometimes. And I think you have to be in order to be a business owner. But is there any advice that you can give to a small business owner to be like, okay, you know what? This is not the right place for you to be prospecting, or this is not the right person to continue pursuing. What are the signs that you need to sort of like, maybe 3 signs that they need to say, okay, yes, let me just cut my losses and go to the next one?
Okay. Well, first of all, right, and I'm going to tie this back to what you just said there about being delusional. If you're in sales And by sales, I mean not just being a salesperson, but you have a small business and you are the small business owner. You run the show. You have the products and services that you offer. First, you need to understand that not everybody is your ideal customer. Not everybody needs the product or service that you have. I have heard people tell me, when I ask them, I say, well, who will buy your product or service? Or who's the ideal customer? It's like, but everybody need this, right? I could sell this to anybody. Everybody need this in their house. I'm like, no, partner. Unless if you sell toilet paper, not everybody is your ideal client, okay? Because you need to understand that you need to identify who is that target customer. What is that customer profile for your product or service, okay? And if you can target that, it means you break down the list of clients down to a certain percentage. And within that certain percentage, because they're more ideal for your product or service, and when you target them, you can get more sales because you're not wasting any time with everybody else who would just tell you no, or who would just give you the runaround and not buy from you. So first of all, we need to make sure that we're targeting the right people for our product or service. Not everybody is going to buy from you because not everybody is your ideal client. Secondly, when you identify these ideal target customers, you're going to give yourself, well, first of all, you have to work hard, but you're going to give yourself less work in that you don't have to waste your time going through the entire sales process with people who are not ideal. So you make it easier for yourself, although you're still going to have to work hard. You make it easier for yourself because the percentage of sales that you're going to close, it's going to be higher. And when you're selling, you're most motivated because knowing that you're closing the sales, you're generating the income, the revenue, you're making the profits, you're on a high. And when you're on a high, that is the best time to go and start looking for more customers because within you, you have that excitement, you have that enjoyment, you have that passion. And when you communicate with people, people will feel that, right? We talk about, in the Caribbean here, we talk about vibes, right? People pick up our vibes. Like, you ever walk into a room and as you walk into that room, you just know it's a bad vibe because the people in that room probably just had an argument and they stay quiet just as you walk in. So just as how you could pick up on that vibe, people will pick up on your vibe. So if you know that you're doing your work and they're buying and you're most motivated, continue trying to get more customers. People are going to pick up on that passion. They're going to pick up on that vibe. It's going to draw them to you.
But that was like my first experience with money. Very, very first experience.
I've been in banking since I was a teenager.
Adrian, I want you to share with our audience out there who is watching this. With the current pandemic, it is difficult for many folks, and you can feel flustered, frustrated, wanting to give up. What words of advice would you give to that individual who is pounding the pavement virtually or otherwise and feel that it's time to give up?
In life, a lot of things tend to not always go our way. And I would definitely want to say that, when it comes to your small business and because you're pounding the pavement, you may not always have the resources, but you can be resourceful. You have the ability to think, you have the ability to know how to process and understand situations and come up with a solution, not just for a customer, not just for your company, but for yourself. Come up with this. So you have the ability to be resourceful, even if you don't have the resources to be able to achieve the things that you want to achieve. Okay?